We all know game dev is hard and time consuming. So the first thing I want to know is if I can use AI to speed things up. Can I build a real game with it? Not just to generate a Pac-Man or a Flappy Bird game, but to use the AI to design a game with me, actually turn the design into an actual game. Let's find out. The first thing I do is to ask the AI for some help on how should I do game development. I wanted to build a 2D turn-based strategy adventure RPG game. What should I do? Can it be done in 30 days? ChatGPT thinks it is very possible. It suggested Godot as the game engine, and it also came out with a 30 days project plan for me to follow. Some nice tips for me: keep it small and try to stay sane. I wonder if Godot is the best choice if my priority is AI code generation and web deployment. Seems like AI have no problem generating code for Godot, and it support building web game. It gives me a table comparing Godot, Unity, Unreal, Phaser. In terms of AI coding support and web deployment, seems like only Godot and Phaser check both boxes. It recommends Godot as a final verdict. It will choose Godot for complex game with a map or a grid, and choose Phaser for platformer, puzzle, and clickers. Seems like it prefers Godot most of the time. Should I try Cursor or Windsurf? Cursor is an AI code editor built on top of VS Code, and Windsurf is a command line tool with AI support. I probably should ask Grok too. So Grok suggested me to build a minimum viable game. Again, it suggests Godot as the game engine. So is Godot the best choice for AI code generation and web deployment? Oh, interesting. There's a future plan for Godot editor to have an AI assistant, but it's not there yet. There seems to be limited Godot 4 code for AI training, so the code generation for Godot 4 might be limited. Unity is more mainstream. Godot can do 2D web games. Unity is good for complex 3D web games, and Unreal is no good for web game. If I ask Grok to build a game, would Grok use Godot or Phaser? Grok prefer to use Godot because of better tooling. Again, for AI code generation or wipe coding, which tool should I use? Seems like Grok don't understand wipe coding yet. Before I can ask the AI to build the game, I need to design the game. I already have a prior game design which I want to make, but it is probably too complex for my first project. So I need to design a simpler new game with my AI buddy. I will make a slime adventure game. I specify a simple structure of the game and ask AI to suggest the rest. Grok actually comes up with a pretty good design document. I also asked Grok to come up with better names for things in the game. Seems like the combat system is missing, so I asked Grok to suggest one. Sometimes Grok suggests something that doesn't make sense, so I need to be sharp and ask Grok to correct his mistakes. I end up spending quite some time to bounce ideas with Grok about the game design. And bouncing ideas with Grok is quite fruitful. The combat mechanics suggested by Grok is probably too simple, so I go to ChatGPT for fresh idea on the combat system. Finally, I complete the design document of my new game, Great Slime Adventure. I asked Grok to cross-check my design document for completeness, Grok evaluated the game design in detail and gave quite a lot of feedbacks. I know the game lacks some depth, but I want to keep the first version simple. It also reminds me of monetization and replayability. It says that my design is 80% complete to start development. Doing a complete game design is pretty time consuming. And AI does help a lot to come up with a lot of suggestions and ideas. After the game design is done, it's time to ask AI to convert the game design into an actual game. I added in some additional instruction about the style, tone, and background story of the game, and asked Grok to generate the game based on my game design document. Very interesting, Grok has a built-in code editor, and it can preview the game as well. Since the game is a HTML file, I can save the file and open the file using a browser to preview the game as well. The game is sort of playable, where I can start adventure, consume things, and energy and day will be updated. Seems like Grok forgot to implement the combat system, so I have to prompt him to fix that. The updated game seems no longer playable, so I have to check what is wrong. Luckily, I found the error and prompt Grok to fix it. The combat system is added. Though the game is sort of playable, but it is probably 20% accurate in terms of the logic. It probably need more testing to find out the logic mistakes. Or I need to add in more detail in the design document and prompt for more correction before the game logic makes sense. As you can see, I can't expect Grok to make a good looking game either. Just basic UI to test play the game. Can ChatGPT do better? ChatGPT asked me whether I want a starter code structure, a prototype, or generate some game art. I prompt for a playable prototype and generate the art and make it beautiful if possible. It generated the source code with a preview button. The UI is nicer and it is playable as well. Rather than generating the game based on the game design, I just asked it to build the UI. I specify how the UI should look like. ChatGPT decides to generate the code using React and Tailwind CSS. Seems like I can't preview the game unless I create a React project and deploy it. I asked for a quick way to preview it. It then generates a complete HTML file. I wonder why it's no longer possible to show the built-in preview. Seems like ChatGPT can only preview HTML only. When React is used, it needs a development environment to render it. I asked ChatGPT to generate the UI in pure HTML.js without any framework. It's strange that the preview button is missing, so I click on Edit. It brings me back to the built-in code editor with a preview button. ChatGPT successfully generated the UI based on my specification. I tried asking ChatGPT to fix the missing image. Seems like it suggested a fix instead of actually fixing and previewing the code. I thought maybe I made some mistake in the prompt, so I redo the prompt. This time the preview button is shown. The UI is generated successfully. I prompt to make the energy status text into a bar. Successful. The preview is updated with the changes. I prompt to add a test button to randomize the energy bar. It seems to suggest the changes without actually making the changes. I prompt it to update the preview. It regenerated the entire HTML, but the preview doesn't update. I restart the preview, and the preview is updated with the test button. I prompt to add the next day button to increment the day count and change the description. I still need to restart the preview for the update to shown. I prompt for when the consume button is clicked, randomly increase the energy and go to next day. The update seems to work without need to restart the preview. I prompt to create a reset button to set day to 1 and energy to 5. Somehow ChatGPT exit the code editor. Clicking consume didn't increment day, so I prompt for a fix. Consume seems to work now. I copied the code into a HTML file and opened the browser. Everything seems to work as per the preview. I prompt to convert the code into Vue plus Tailwind CSS. It generated a Vue file which I cannot preview without compilation. I asked it to generate the Vue code with HTML file. The Vue HTML file seems to have a styling issue. Checking the console show that tailwind.css is missing. I prompt for a fix. Great, it's working now. I prompt ChatGPT to generate the code in Vue so that I can break the UI into components. I prompt it to create an Analyze UI component and click on the Analyze button will show the component in a pop-up. Nothing seems to happen when Analyze is clicked. I don't know the reason for the error, but I prompt it for a fix anyway. It tried to suggest a fix without regenerating the HTML file. I prompt it to regenerate. The problem still persists. I found out the problem is due to Vue component failed to be rendered properly. I report the problem back to ChatGPT. ChatGPT thinks it is a syntax issue. Sadly, that's not the case. ChatGPT try again based on my feedback. Yes, it's working now. I prompt it to create a new Analyze UI component with more features. I prompt it to convert the HTML into an Analyze UI Vue component. ChatGPT generated a native Vue file, and I need it in HTML format. I then extract the Analyze UI component and paste the code to replace my older Analyze UI component. I made quite a few mistakes along the way. Still not there yet. Finally, it is working. So, can I actually use a simple AI tool to make a game based on my design documents? Simple AI tool is good for generating a prototype, a demo, but probably not a full playable game. Definitely no art, sound or music is generated. You need additional AI tool to do so. And it doesn't look good by default, so you probably need to put more effort into it. Since the design document is fairly complex, so it might generate an incomplete logic. That means you tell it to do 10 things, he might only remember 2 or 3 things and totally forget about the other 7 things. Logical mistake, design mistake, or just because your design document is not complete enough regarding all the rules that you need to follow. So to fix this, you probably need a lot more prompts and a lot more trial. It cannot handle complex design in one go, meaning that you cannot ask him to write let's say 1000 line design and ask it to build everything in one go. You probably need to break your design document into smaller parts, into components. So you help me to build the adventure system first, then only you build the battle system, then you build tech tree system part by part, and then you join all this together. Without using an AI code editor like Cursor and Windsurf, while using only LLM Chat UI, the limitation of this Chat UI is it can only preview pure HTML code. So if you ask it to generate React or Vue component, you can't preview it in the UI itself. So you need to download, save the file in HTML and open it using a browser. Or you need to have your React or Vue project ready and compile it outside of the LLM Chat UI. Even with their built-in editor, code modification might be clunky or slow, meaning that sometimes they edit the code and update the preview, and sometimes they don't sometimes it's slow, so it's a bit unpredictable. So in order to break your game into multiple components for HTML, you probably need to use React or Vue, and you also need to manually merge this individual component into your project. So you need to copy and paste, preview, debug, and so maybe AI code editor like Cursor might do a better job. And wipe coding doesn't really work. I think it's still pretty far away. You can ask it to do things, but it can't complete 100% of the tasks. And as you ask it to modify the code, it's not quite reliable yet. You can't do wipe coding mainly because you still need to know what caused the error, what is the error, then you tell it to the AI, and then the AI will fix it. If you don't know programming and you don't know what is the error, then you can't tell the AI to fix it. Although AI generate most of the code, you probably still need to learn to edit some part of the code to gel things together. After trying the chat UI interface, which is quite troublesome when your project consists of multiple files and then you need to ask AI to edit it, I think an AI assisted editor will be more productive. So the next thing I'm interested to try is tools like Cursor or Windsurf, where I can generate a project setup, maybe a Vue project with multiple files, and then I can instruct Cursor to build it component by component and see how well it goes. So the chat UI is only maybe good for a demo or prototype. So when you want to get more serious work done, you probably need to use a AI assisted code editor like Cursor or Windsurf. Okay, that's all for this episode. So I have shown what the AI chat interface can do to build a game. Let's see what I can do with Cursor or Windsurf in my next video. Bye.